It was a cold evening, and the sky looked heavy with gray clouds. The streetlights had just turned on, spreading a weak yellow glow on the empty road. Armand, a single father, was closing the shutters of his small repair shop. His 9-year-old daughter, Aisha, stood beside him, holding his lunchbox and humming softly. They were ready to walk home, just like every day. But this evening was different. As they stepped onto the road, Armand noticed something unusual ahead. Near an old streetlight, a woman stood alone, holding a small boy in her arms. Her clothes were torn and dirty, like she had been running or hiding somewhere. Her hair was messy, her face pale. Her hands shook slightly as she tried to hold her child close. Many people passed by her, some stared for a second, some judged, some whispered, but no one stopped. But Armand felt something, a strange pull, a worry, a question. The woman kept looking around as if someone was watching her. Her eyes showed fear, but her face showed strength. It was an unusual mix, like she was broken from outside, but unbreakable from inside. Aisha tugged on her father's hand and whispered, "Papa, is she okay?" Armand did not answer. He kept watching. Suddenly, the small boy in her arms moved weakly, then went completely still. His tiny hand dropped to the side. The woman gasped and tried to wake him. "Baby, please wake up," she said in a shaking voice. But the boy didn't respond. She looked around desperately, but nobody cared. People pretended they didn't see. Some even stepped away from her like she was trouble. Armand couldn't ignore it anymore. He stepped closer. "Is everything all right?" The woman looked up. For a second, Armand felt something hit his heart. Her eyes were full of pain, deep, silent pain, the kind a person carries after fighting too many battles. I need help," she whispered. "Please, my son, he hasn't eaten. He is too weak." Her voice cracked at the end, but she quickly hid her tears. She stood straight again, as if she didn't want to show her weakness in front of strangers. Armand looked at the boy. His skin looked pale, his lips dry, and his eyes half closed. "This child needs a doctor," Armand said, but the woman stepped back suddenly, scared. No hospital," she whispered. "Please." Armand frowned. Why would someone avoid help? Something didn't feel right. Her torn clothes. Fear in her eyes. The way she looked over her shoulder, again and again, as if someone dangerous was chasing her. Aisha, without hesitation, stepped forward and touched the boy's hand. "Papa, he is very cold," she said softly. Armand sighed. His heart was too soft to walk away. "Look, I won't force you," he said to the woman, "but your boy needs help. At least come with me to the clinic nearby. It's safe." The woman looked at him for a long moment. Her breathing was fast. She was clearly scared. But then she looked at her son, lying weak in her arms. She had no choice. "Okay," she whispered. As they started walking, Armand noticed more things. Bruises on her arms, the scratches on her face. The way her torn dress looked burned at some parts, like she'd escaped something or someone. They reached the small clinic. Armand helped her inside. The doctor examined the boy and said, "He's very weak. Looks like he hasn't eaten properly for days." The woman lowered her head in shame or fear, Armand couldn't tell which. While the boy was treated, Armand watched her quietly. Even in torn clothes, even in fear, she held her son with so much love, so much care, so much heart. Her appearance looked broken, but her soul looked strong. Armand didn't know her name, didn't know her story. He didn't know the storm she was escaping, but he knew one thing: this woman was not what she looked like, and her story was going to change everything. Inside the small clinic, the bright white lights made the woman look even more tired. Her hands shook as she tried to fix her son's hair, whispering to him softly. Armand stood near the door with Aisha, watching quietly. Something inside him kept saying that this woman's story was much deeper than what he had seen. The doctor finished checking the boy and walked over to Armand. "He is not sick," the doctor said. "He is just very weak. He needs food, rest, and warmth." Armand nodded. But the doctor looked at the woman with raised eyebrows. "Where have you been living?" he asked her gently. The woman froze for a second. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Finally she whispered, We been outside. Outside for how long? The doctor asked again. She looked down at her torn clothes and said nothing. The doctor sighed and stepped away. Armand understood she didn't want to talk. When the boy was given warm milk, he slowly opened his eyes. A weak smile rose on his face as he saw his mother. The woman held him close, and her shoulders shook with silent relief. Armand watched that moment carefully. For the first time, he noticed something unusual about her. Her genuine love, not fear-based. Not forced, not desperate. Very pure. It's very real. Most people who looked broken outside often carried brokenness inside too. But she was different. Aisha moved closer and smiled. "Your baby is cute," she said softly. The woman finally looked up. Her expression softened a little. "Thank you," she said. Aram decided to buy food for them. He went outside and returned with bread, eggs, biscuits, and water. He placed the small packet in front of her. The woman blinked in surprise. "For us?" she asked, like she wasn't used to kindness. Of course, Armand said, "Your son needs food." She slowly fed the boy. He ate like he hadn't had a proper meal in days. Every bite made her eyes fill with tears. Armand noticed the bruises on her wrists again. They looked fresh, like someone had grabbed her hard. He also noticed a small cut near her neck, thin, sharp, painful. She looked like someone who had fought something terrible. After some minutes, the clinic began to close. The doctor asked them to leave, as he had to shut down for the night. The woman stood up holding her boy, but she looked completely lost. "Where will you go now?" Armand asked. She didn't answer. She looked outside the clinic door, as if darkness would swallow her. Her breathing got heavy again. Her eyes searched the street nervously. It was clear she had no place to go. She was scared of someone. Armand looked at Aisha. His daughter was already watching the woman with worry in her eyes. "Look," Armand said kindly. "It's cold outside. You can come with us for tonight. At least you and your boy will be safe and warm." The woman stepped back, unsure. "No, I don't want to trouble anyone," she whispered. "It's not trouble," Armand replied. "It's just one night." She hesitated again, like she wanted to trust him but didn't know how. But when the cold wind hit her son and the boy started coughing again, she finally nodded. They walked slowly through the quiet streets. Aisha held the boy's hand, and Armand walked beside the woman, noticing everything about her. Her steps were slow, her shoulders were tense, and she kept turning around as if she feared someone following them. Halfway home, something fell from her bag and hit the ground with a soft clink. Armand picked it up. It was a necklace with shiny letters. He looked at the woman. Her face instantly turned pale. She quickly took the necklace from him and hid it inside her bag. "Sorry it slipped," she murmured. But Armand knew that reaction wasn't normal. There was a story behind that necklace. A painful story. As they reached his home, Armand felt one thing strongly. This woman wasn't just lost. She was running. And whatever she was running from was dangerous. Armand unlocked the door of his small apartment. The warm lights inside made the place feel safe and calm. Aisha rushed in first, placing her school bag on the table. The woman stepped inside slowly, holding her little boy close as if someone might take him away. "Please sit," Armand said softly. She nodded and sat on the edge of the sofa, her body stiff and tense. The boy rested his head on her lap, now looking much better after eating and resting. Aisha brought a soft blanket and gently placed it over the child. "He will feel warm now," she said with a shy smile. The woman blinked, surprised by the child's kindness. "Thank you," she whispered. Armand made tea and poured warm milk for the boy. He noticed how the woman looked around the small apartment, carefully, almost studying every corner. Not with judgment, but with fear, as if making sure there was no danger here. "Don't worry," Armand said quietly. "You're safe." She lowered her head. "I hope so," she murmured. After a long moment, Armand asked, "What's your name?" She hesitated, then answered, "Maya." It was the first clear thing she had said about herself, and even that came with a hint of fear. "And your son?" Armand asked. "His name is Kabir," she replied, gently stroking the boy's hair. Aisha sat beside her father and whispered, "She looks very scared, Papa." Maya heard it and smiled, a sad smile. "Yes, I am scared, she admitted. Armand wanted to ask more, but he didn't want to push her. He poured tea into a cup and placed it in front of her. She touched it carefully, as if she wasn't used to someone making tea for her. Minutes passed in silence. Only Kabir's soft breathing filled the room. Finally, Maya spoke. I know I look strange, torn clothes, scared face, running at night. She took a shaky breath. But I was not always like this. Armand listened quietly. I lived in a big house once, Maya continued. I had a family, a husband, a future. People respected us. Everyone thought we were perfect. Her voice cracked a little. But perfect things break the loudest. Armand felt chills. Maya looked down at her hands. These bruises, these cuts, they are not from poverty. They are from someone who once promised to protect me. Armand's jaw tightened, but he let her continue. My husband, he was not always bad. He was gentle at first, but slowly, he changed. His anger grew. His control grew. His world became my cage. Her eyes filled with tears, but she wiped them quickly. Kabir stirred into sleep. Maya kissed his forehead gently. I endured everything silently. For my son, I stayed. I thought I could protect him. She paused. But the day he raised his hand on Kabir, her voice broke completely. That day, I ran. Armand's chest tightened. At that moment, he understood her fear, her trembling hands, her torn clothes. She wasn't homeless. She was escaping. I left in the middle of the night, Maya continued. I had nothing but my child and a small bag. I didn't know where to go. I just needed to run far away. Armand noticed her bag on the floor. Something metallic glowed through the half-open zip. The necklace. He cleared his throat. Maya. That necklace with the letters AR? Does it belong to your husband? Maya froze. Her breath caught. Yes, she whispered. It was his gift to me. Before he changed, Armand nodded slowly. But why keep it? He asked gently. Her eyes softened with pain. Because I want Kabir to grow up knowing that not everything in our past was bad. Some memories were good. Before the darkness came, quiet silence filled the room. Outside, the wind blew softly against the windows. Inside, the truth sat heavy in the air. Aisha went to Maya and placed a small hand on her arm. Don't be scared. My papa is strong. Maya smiled weakly. I can see that. Armand looked at her carefully. Maya, whoever hurt you, whoever made you run, he cannot reach you here. Not tonight. But Maya's eyes told a different story. Fear still lived there, deep and real. Because she knew something Armand didn't. The man she ran from never gave up easily. And he wasn't far behind. Night settled over the neighborhood like a heavy blanket. Most houses were dark, but Armand's small apartment still glowed softly. After hearing Maya's story, Armand sat quietly at the dining table, thinking. Aisha had gone to her room, and Kabir was sleeping peacefully on the sofa. Maya sat near the window, staring at the shadows moving on the street below. Every car light made her jump. Every passing sound made her hold her breath. Armand noticed her fear growing again. You don't have to be afraid here, he said gently. Maya didn't turn around. I wish that was true, she whispered. Armand stepped closer. Your husband doesn't know where you are. Maya finally looked at him. Her eyes were deeper than before, filled with something heavier than fear. You don't understand, Armand, she said. He always finds me. It's the way she said it, sent a shiver through the room. Before Armand could ask more, there was a sharp knock on the door. A loud, strong, angry knock. Maya froze instantly. Her hands gripped the window curtain so tightly that the cloth wrinkled. Armand stepped toward the door slowly. Who could it be this late? He wondered. Aisha peeked from her room, scared. Papa, don't open it. Armand gestured her to stay inside. He opened the door just a little. A tall man stood outside, dark jacket, sharp eyes, rough voice. His face was filled with anger, and his hands were clenched. Behind him, the streetlight flickered, making his shadow look long and threatening. I'm looking for someone, the man said without greeting. A woman. She has a child with her. Armand's heartbeat slowed. He kept his voice calm. I don't know anyone like that. The man leaned forward. Really? Because some people said they saw a woman in torn clothes near this street. His eyes scanned the hallway behind Armand. Armand blocked the view. Sir, maybe you are mistaken? The man's jaw tightened. If you see her, tell her she can't run forever. Armand felt a chill. Who are you to her? He asked. The man forced a smile that never reached his eyes. Her husband? Armand's stomach dropped, but he didn't move from the doorway. She's dangerous, the man continued. She steals things. Lies. She's unstable. I'm just trying to bring her home. Armand understood the strategy, instantly twist the truth. Paint himself as the victim? I haven't seen anyone, Armand repeated firmly. After a long, tense silence, the man stepped back. Fine, he said, but I'll be around. Armand closed the door the moment the man disappeared from sight. Behind him, Maya stood trembling, tears running silently down her face. That was him, she whispered. He found me. Aisha ran to her father. Papa, please don't let him take her. Armand placed a reassuring hand on Maya's shoulder. He won't. But Maya stepped away. He will return, she said. He always returns. He has money, power, and connections. Armand frowned. What do you mean? Maya sat down slowly, holding her head. My husband belongs to a wealthy family, she revealed. His father has influence everywhere. Police, lawyers, officers. I tried filing a complaint once. Her voice shook. They made the complaint disappear. Armand tightened his fists. So that's why you didn't want to go to the hospital? Or the police? She nodded. I'm not safe anywhere they can reach. Armand took a deep breath. Then you'll stay here.
Out with this?
Until we find a way. Maya looked at him, confused. Why would you help me? You don't even know me. Armand looked at sleeping Kabir. Because your son deserves safety. And because you don't deserve this pain. Maya covered her face, overwhelmed. No one has stood for me in years, she whispered. Armand pulled a chair and sat beside her. You're not alone now. For the first time, Maya didn't argue. She just nodded slowly, trusting him a little more. Suddenly, the window rattled from a passing truck. Maya jumped again. The danger wasn't far. The night wasn't calm. And Armand knew the real storm was coming. The next morning brought sunlight, but inside the apartment, the air still felt heavy. Maya barely slept. Every sound made her sit up. Every footstep in the hallway made her hold Kabir closer. Armand watched her quietly from the kitchen, preparing breakfast. He felt a strange mix of anger and responsibility. No woman should fear her own home. No child should sleep with one eye open. Aisha sat beside Maya on the sofa. Did you have bad dreams? She asked softly. Maya forced a smile. They weren't dreams. Just memories. Kabir woke up soon after and hugged his mother tightly. Armand placed a warm plate of food in front of them. You need strength, he said. Both of you. Maya looked at the plate for a long moment, then whispered, Thank you. It was clear that simple kindness still felt strange to her. After breakfast, Armand stepped outside to check something. The moment he opened the door, he noticed a crushed cigarette on the floor fresh. Still warm and small muddy footprints near the stairs. Someone had been there recently. His jaw tightened. Inside, Maya watched him from the window. She knew that look. He is close. Isn't he? She said softly when Armand returned. Armand didn't lie. Yes, but he didn't come inside. And he won't. Maya's hand shook again. You don't understand how dangerous he is. Armand looked her straight in the eyes. I have seen dangerous people. I have dealt with them. And I will not let anyone harm you or your child. Something in his voice was different. Today stronger, fiercer. Aisha came running. Papa, at school they are having a parents' meeting today. Can you come? Armand nodded. Yes, we'll all go together. Maya looked startled. Me no? I can't go outside. What if he sees me? Arman shook his head gently. We won't go where he expects you. You and Kabir can stay in the playground behind the school. It's safe. Maya hesitated, but finally agreed. On the way to school, Arman walked with confidence. Maya walked with fear. She kept glancing over her shoulder, gripping Kabir's hand tightly. Aisha walked between them like a tiny guardian. At the school playground, Kabir began playing with Aisha. For the first time, Maya saw her son laugh freely. The sound broke her heart and healed it at the same time. Thank you for this, she whispered. Arman smiled gently before heading to the meeting, but while he was inside, a man in a black car parked near the playground. Maya froze instantly. Her heartbeat raced. Her vision blurred. It was one of her husband's men. He scanned the area lazily. Then his eyes stopped on her. Maya pulled Kabir behind a tree, shaking completely. Not again. Not here. Not in front of her child. Aisha ran to the classroom and called Arman. Papa, someone bad is here. He is looking for Maya. Arman rushed outside immediately. The man in the car began walking toward the playground. Smirking, before he could reach Maya, Arman stepped in front of him. Blocking his path, Move, the man growled. No, Arman said firmly. You're protecting her? The man sneered. You don't know who you're dealing with. Arman's voice was calm but sharp. And you don't know who you're threatening. The man leaned forward. She belongs to my boss. She will come back home whether she wants to or not. Arman's eyes turned cold. She is not property. She is a mother, and you will not go near her. The man smirked. You think you can stop us? Arman stepped even closer. I know I can. His voice carried so much force that even the man paused. Arman didn't shout. He didn't push. He just stood like a wall, silent, firm, unbreakable. Parents nearby began watching. The man realized the situation wasn't in his favor. He spat on the ground and walked back to his car. This isn't over, he warned before driving away. Arman rushed to Maya. She was trembling uncontrollably. Are you okay? He asked. She nodded weakly. You shouldn't have done that. Arman looked at her with quiet strength. I will do it again, and again, until you are free. Tears ran down her face. No one had ever defended her like this. For the first time, she felt a tiny spark of hope. But she also knew her husband would never stop, and the storm was closer than ever. The evening sky turned orange as the sun began to set. The events of the day still hung heavy in the air. Maya sat on the small balcony of Arman's apartment, watching Kabir and Aisha play with toy blocks inside. Their happy laughter was the only peaceful sound in her world. Arman came outside quietly, carrying 2 cups of tea. You didn't eat lunch, he said softly. Maya nodded slowly. I was too. Shaken, Arman sat beside her. He won't come back today, he reassured. There were too many people watching at the school. He'll stay quiet for a while. But Maya shook her head. You don't know him, Arman. If he wants something, he takes it. If he loses control, he destroys things. That's how he has lived his whole life. Arman looked at the road below, thinking deeply. You said he has money? Power? Connections? He paused. But we still have something stronger. Maya looked at him with tired eyes. What is stronger than power? Truth, Arman said simply. And people who stand for it? Maya lowered her gaze. I appreciate what you did today, but I cannot stay here forever. I cannot risk your life. Or Aisha's. This is my fight. Arman shook his head. It became my fight the moment you walked into that streetlight holding your son. Maya felt her heart tremble. She wasn't used to such loyalty. She wasn't used to anyone choosing to stand with her. Suddenly, Kabir ran to her, laughing. Mama, see what Aisha built. He was smiling with all his heart. Maya hugged him tightly, inhaling his scent like it was the only thing keeping her alive. Arman watched them quietly. Later that night, after the kids went to sleep, Arman called a lawyer friend he trusted. He explained everything: Maya's bruises, the husband's threats, the powerful family, the fear. The lawyer listened carefully. "I can help," he said. "But Maya must be brave. The law can protect her if she stands strong." Arman looked toward Maya, sleeping on the sofa with Kabir curled beside her. "She has been strong for too long," he said softly. "She just needs someone to stand beside her now." The next morning Arman told her about the lawyer. Maya froze. "No, please. His family will crush us. They will twist the story. They will." Arman gently held her shoulders. "You are not alone. You have witnesses. You have the doctor. You have me? And you have your son, who deserves a safe life." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "But I am tired, Arman. I don't know if I can fight anymore." Arman smiled softly. "Then fight for Kabir. Let him grow up knowing his mother didn't run forever." Those words shook her deeply. After a long silence, she whispered, "Okay, I will fight." The legal battle began. It was not easy. Maya's husband tried every trick: fake stories, false witnesses, threats. But Arman and the lawyer countered everything with proof, truth, and persistence. The doctor confirmed the bruises. A neighbor testified hearing screams from Maya's house months ago. Security camera footage showed her running out at night with Kabir. Clearly injured slowly, the truth became impossible to hide. One afternoon, the court announced its decision. Maya sat trembling as the judge spoke. The custody of the child will remain with the mother. Charges of domestic abuse against the husband are accepted. Protection will be provided to Maya and her son. Maya covered her mouth and began to cry, shaking with relief. Arman placed his hand on her back. "You're free now," he whispered. She turned to him with teary eyes. "No, we are free," she said. Weeks passed. Maya found a small job at a women's support center. She and Kabir moved into a peaceful home nearby. Aisha visited often, and Kabir adored her like family. One evening, as Arman walked them to their door, Maya said softly, "People judged me because of my torn clothes, but you saw something else." "I saw your heart." A warm wind passed between them. Maya looked up at him with gratitude deeper than words. "You saved me, Arman. You saved my son." He shook his head. "No, you saved yourself. You just needed someone to remind you of your strength." Kabir hugged Arman's leg. "Uncle, will you come tomorrow?" Arman smiled. "Of course." And as Maya watched Arman walk away, she knew this wasn't the end. This was the beginning of a life she never thought she could have. A life built on peace, on truth, on courage, and on the beautiful heart that someone finally saw.